Okay, we're learning how to build a beanie. So we start with our first knot, a slip knot. Get that on there. And then we're going to make 6 loops from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can do hats a few different ways. This is one way that I've noticed is just easier to start. Usually use a bone ring, but I don't have one. And you can either make a loop and tie it and then start off that, or I'll just take a string out and then fold it back and then start at the end, which is what we're going to do now. So I've made hats with starting with 3 knots, and I've made hats starting with 5 knots, and I've made hats starting with 4 or 6 or 7. 5 is relatively flat. 7 is very flat. 3 is pointy, a pointy type hat. It just depends on the type of hat they want. So I'm going to go back to the first knot we made. I'm going to skip the first slip knot. That's why we make 6, because we're skipping that first one. I'm going to bring that in here. And you want to pinch that, because if you don't, it's just going to roll around on you. So bring that through there, come around, and then pull it through both of those so you have one knot. So this is where it's tricky. So we're not moving on to the next knot yet. You find that same hole that you were just in, which I'm right here. And you do another one. So you do 2 in the same hole. And the first knot's always a little tighter than the rest, so you just gotta find it. Okay, so now there's 2 knots in that first hole. Okay, now we move on to the next one and do the same thing. Two knots come out of there. So I made 1. I'm just going back through that same hole again. 2. So move on to the next one and do 2 more. I'm just kind of accentuating that so you can see those holes. So there's that hole. And we went on to this one. One, 2. So you've done that one. Now we're moving on to the next hole right here. Just kind of pulling that apart so you can see it. 1, 2. Oops, missed that one. Oops, I did that different. So the next hole will be right here. One, 2. Okay, let's count and see where we are. It looks terrible, but so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're there. So when you're doing a hat, you double all those so you can make the hat grow. So the hat grows by making it bigger. Does that make sense or doesn't make sense? I messed this up, so I'm going to pull this back a little bit. I've lost my lead or not. I'm going to have to undo this. Get the idea of it though. I'm actually going to cut this string and start over. So you go around and do that double knot so you can extend it. You can make it longer. It starts to spread out flat. Or if you're doing 3, it will spread out in a triangle. Or 7 is really flat, but 5 is pretty typical is what I usually use, or 4. But I'll do it again to get back to the point where we have on the second row, and then we'll go from there.